said they caught the person that murdered your dad. And I did, which I probably will again. I just cried.
Tonight on DC News Now at 6, a 51-year-old cold case has finally come to a close. New details tonight as the suspect is now in custody. We'll have a live report.
Plus, how a recent federal district court decision could impact thousands of Americans who have access to life-saving HIV medication.
Hi everyone, I'm meteorologist Webb from your local Ford Weather Center. We have low-lying clouds and a few showers that our weather team continues to track. Also, high pressure and sunshine that's moving in. We'll look at your forecast coming up.
All right, good evening. Welcome to DC News Now at 6. I'm Chris Flanagan.
And I'm Tasmeen Muffes. We continue to follow the now barricade situation in Northwest DC at Brightwood Park, where police have been in a standoff with a man. Yeah,
this is at the intersection of Georgia and Jefferson Northwest. It is completely shut down right now in both directions. This is the map there. We also have a live look at the scene there. Now, out of safety precautions, we're not showing you the man. We're keeping it as more of a wide shot. Police received calls about a man with a gun, and police confirmed with us that they were able to recover that gun.
Yeah, and D.C. police say no shots were fired by police. The man was seen standing on top of the roof. Police did confirm to us that they are treating this as a mental health crisis. Apparently, the man had taken his clothes off and put them back on. And what led up to this still remains under investigation. But, of course, we will continue to follow this story as we continue to learn more.
Also breaking now at 6, a quadruple shooting in southeast D.C. Our partner, D.C. Real-Time News, alerted us to this shooting on Chesapeake Street. That call came in just before 5 p.m. Police say the victims are men and all are conscious and breathing right now. We do have a photographer heading to that scene. We'll bring you more breaking details as we learn them from that scene as well.
And tonight we have new insight into how police were able to solve the 51-year-old murder of a Montgomery County police captain that was killed in the line of duty. Yeah, DC News Now's Katie Rhea is live with the latest. And Katie, you spoke with the family members today. That long wait finally is over for them.
Absolutely, you guys are right. It's been 51 long years since Captain James Hall was found in the parking lot of the Manor Country Club, which is just up the road behind me here in Rockville. Now, 51 years, his murder went unsolved. Now, there was a sense of relief when an arrest was announced, but his family told me that there will be no closure until their father's killer is convicted and sentenced.
It's happiness, but it's sadness. It's mixed emotions.
I'm not satisfied that the man's still alive. He killed my father.
51 years. That's how long the Hall family has waited for answers in the murder of Montgomery County Police Captain James Hall. He was shot and killed in October of 1971. Investigators believe Captain Hall was responding to a burglary on Carrollton Road when he was shot. He later died in the hospital.
For 51 years, his murder had gone unsolved. Last October, detectives from the cold case unit made the decision to take a look at the 1971 homicide of Montgomery County Special Deputy Sheriff Captain James Tappan Hall with a fresh set of eyes.
After reopening the cold case, investigators shifted their focus to one man, one who was already interviewed by police once before. Their primary suspect, Larry David Becker, who now uses the last name Smith. Detectives traveled to New York, where Smith has lived for the last 45 years. And on September 1st, Smith admitted to shooting Captain Hall. Captain Hall's daughter, Carolyn, called investigators repeatedly over the years, pressing them to find the man who killed her father, waiting for this moment.
He said they caught the person that murdered your dad. And I did, which I probably will again. I just cried and cried.
Despite an admission and a subsequent murder charge against Smith, police say the job isn't done just yet.
You know, it shouldn't feel like a victory lap, but we're happy with an arrest. We still have a lot of work to do with the prosecution to make sure this is finished the right way for the family and for Captain Hall.
There's no such thing, in my opinion, as closure. This person I hope he had a miserable life, but he killed my father, and he should pay for it.
Now, Smith has waived an extradition from New York to Maryland, and so he's expected back here in the state by the end of this week. For now, reporting live in Montgomery County, Katie Rhea, DC News Now.
under the underpass, and cars were turning around and going up Ridge Avenue do not enter signway. It was pretty bad, pretty rough.
Yeah, just take a look here. This Washington County school bus driver, one of many people impacted by severe flooding that swept through that area today. That was in Hagerstown. It caused road closures and impacted a lot of vehicles there on the roadways. All right, we're now joined by Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb and Brittany Ward to break it all down for us.
Yeah, and Janessa, you're seeing threats of isolated flooding in our region tonight.
Yeah, we're going to continue to track these showers. We have an unstable atmosphere that's allowing the clouds to continue to be in place and the moisture that's making its way in from south to east. The flash flood watches, they have finally expired across the area, but we were really watching Washington County, sections of West Virginia earlier this afternoon as the moisture continued really actually to be stalled out across that area. Right now it's hovering across I-81 into Culpeper, the Warrenton area, even a few sprinkles for Loudoun County. But as I said, tonight we will continue to watch this area of low pressure. The backside of this moisture continues to really filter in across Philadelphia into the D.C. metro area. But then you have high pressure that is making its way into the Great Lakes, and that's really going to change the weather pattern that we are seeing across our region going into tomorrow. Now look at some of these totals just in the last 3 to 5 days, really impacting portions of southern Maryland, talking about 4 inches out towards Winchester. So we are seeing a very saturated ground across southern Maryland and even some lighter amounts for northern Virginia. Hopefully, you know, after tonight around midnight, we start to see some clearing that actually starts to take place. And Thursday is looking like a fantastic day. But man, we have seen the flash flooding, flash flood warnings across sections of the DMV. And now we have Brittany Ward, and she's going to explain, actually, Brittany, why are we seeing this across our area?
Yeah, so Janessa, just like the last graphic you saw, we just got a lot of heavy rain in a short amount of time, and local officials, EMS workers, they actually said that the ground and even the water system just could not handle that much rain in that short period of time, which is why we've seen the common scene like this across Hagerstown today. This is actually Memorial Boulevard. You can see not one, but 2 cars were actually stuck in this flooded water, which is why we always tell you guys to turn around and do not drown, because you actually do not know how deep that water is. You cannot see from that view. Not only did we get pictures, but we also got some videos. Parking lots turned into rivers. This is West Lee Street, also in Hagerstown. Laura sent this in. She also sent in this video of people actually driving through that flooded water at the same exact spot, which is again why we always tell you guys to turn around, do not drown. Take a look at those waves that came off of that car. That car had to slow down because they were driving too fast. And one of these things that we really keep an eye out for is when these cars drive by, the water goes mainly over their tire line, and this could actually stall out the car, which is why we see a lot of those cars get stuck when we get flooded waters like this. And I just want to remind you guys, it only takes about 6 inches of water to sweep you away, 12 inches of water to sweep a small car away. So again, it's why it's always important to turn around and do not drown. Now, Chris and Thasmeen, I'm going to send it back over to you guys in the studio.
All right, Brittany, good advice there. Meanwhile, developing right now, a federal judge in Texas has struck down a provision of the Affordable Care Act that covers HIV prevention drugs. Joining us now is DC News Now anchor Mark Hall. And Mark, there really are far-reaching impacts of this decision.
Far-reaching indeed, Chris. First, some background. There are hundreds of thousands of people in America, many gay and bisexual men, who take HIV drugs that they can get for little to no cost. Now, this, of course, has shocked LGBTQ plus groups in Texas and across the country because it could threaten health care access for more than 150 million working Americans who are on employer-sponsored health care plans. So what does this mean if you have insurance? Now, these medications cost from $0 to $40 a month, but paying out of pocket, which is what this ruling is saying, would cost patients up to nearly $600 for 1 month. And some could even be forced to pay up to $2,000 to $3,000 for their pills. But a Christian-owned company filed a lawsuit against the federal government saying that it's not okay and that it violates their religious freedom to give free coverage. So, new right now, a U.S. district judge with sided with the Christian company, saying that that private religious corporations should not be forced to cover HIV prevention drugs. Now, Virginia Congresswoman Abigail Spanziger sent this statement saying, in part, this ruling could jeopardize preventative health care services for millions of at-risk Americans, particularly those living with HIV and their loved ones. And of course, I will continue to speak out against these reckless attacks against the Affordable Care Act and to protect the thousands of Virginians who rely on it. We're told that the Biden administration has already said that it would appeal the decision. We'll send it back to you.